Okay, so here's request number 2. Well, maybe not in that order because I've had a few, but the one was to remove hands or fingers of parents for safe newborn photography. So here's the raw image once again. All I did was up the exposure because it was a tad underexposed because my strobe did not fire for this shot. Anywho, so I just adjust everything in Camera Raw as normal, and then I open image. Alright, so I crop this puppy the way that I want it, somewhere around there. Make a second layer again so you're not affecting your original layer. For her hands, so for here I would probably, I don't remember exactly what I did, but I'd probably just grab something like this, and I just use the lasso tool, and then I would hit Control Copy, Control Paste, Control T, and then I would flip it horizontally. The reason being is that I still want some texture in the blanket when I'm getting rid of her hand, and I just find that helps in the end process. For, like, obviously I blur and get rid of all of these weird kind of shadows and stuff, but I find texture is really important. Too often you see where people kind of blur out everything and there's no texture left and there's no like shadows. It just looks like somebody drew over it with a white crayon, and that's never nice. So anyway, so I just go pretty close, zooming as if I need to get his hair, so you don't have this like straight headline which always looks super big. Oop, there's her finger. Alright, so then I bring the brush bigger and just get rid of the copy paste lines. So I just Control T again just to stretch this out a bit. Bring it back towards the hair again. So that you have kind of similar fabric pull lines that you started with. This is just how I do it. It might not be the right way, but it's how I learned or taught myself, I should say. Okay. So now you can still see the finger a little bit right here, and obviously right here, and we'll blend that in. I'm not going to go into detail because the file will be too big if I post it on Facebook and too long. But obviously you would get rid of, so I would use the patch tool to get rid of kind of like some of these wrinkle lines. Patch tool just copies and feathers and blurs so that you don't have a lot of work. Drag it over. Alright, so back to the layer of the copy paste. So a little bit more up here. And I lower my opacity of my eraser brush and just try and blend some of this. It's okay if some of this shows because you can just use your clone tool after and it always looks better anyways. Okay, so onto clone real quick. So zoom in because there's that little tiny shadow right here by his arm. Probably try to get fairly but small to kind of like feather it out a bit. Or you can always use this pen tool, the smudge tool. Like that. Alright. So we're just going to use the clone tool. Fairly sharp. Or unblurred, I guess, just to get rid of the rest of that finger. Obviously the image needs a lot of work. The kid is a redhead, naturally. Lucky him. So I got rid of, in the end, obviously a lot of this redness without getting rid of the natural color of his hair, which with redheads is sometimes tricky. Oh, it didn't work because I didn't merge my layers. Anyway, so that's how I get rid of a hand. I don't know. How do you get rid of a hand? So again, I would just go excuse me, through and kind of make a, I find it's easier to just kind of make a small area that is nice and smooth that I can continue to sample from. So you see what I mean? Like this area is pretty smooth and soft, whereas this isn't. So then I would just keep sampling from that area. And people have their own ways of doing their blanket blur. I typically just highlight this area, something like this, where you would get like a natural blur, which I already have, but I like to increase it a little bit. Then I go to select, modify, feather, and I would feather this mofo like 35 at least. And then I would go to blur, Gaussian blur, and you can see from the photo it will give you an example of how much it's doing. And that's after you've done all like the more major stuff. Like these things will never go away unless you blur like crazy. And then I just get, oops, I just put him back so he's not too blurred. Just something like that. Okay, hope that helped.